Today I'll be talking about the carbon tax and the emissions trading scheme. The Geller government is currently devising a carbon reduction policy in response to growing national and international concern with human-induced global warming. The policy response is a carbon tax introduced in July 2012. Following this, there will be an eventual transition to an emissions trading scheme. Both economic policies are designed to provide the price signal for the economy to transition to low-carbon alternatives of energy. Without getting into the political arguments about whether human-induced climate change is real, using basic microeconomic theory, this video will examine 1. The present economy with no carbon tax or ETS, and 2. The economy under a carbon tax. Ultimately, this microeconomic analysis will prove why, in theory, such a policy framework will work in curbing Australia's carbon emissions. Part 1. The coal-fired power station with no price on carbon. The power station produces at the point where its marginal cost, the cost for 1 extra megawatt hour, is equal to marginal social benefit, the price society is willing to pay for 1 more megawatt hour. However, the power station's marginal cost does not take into account the cost of its pollution, i.e. carbon emissions, on society, and as a result its production of electricity is greater than it should be. Therefore, the power plant's production of 16,000 megawatts of electricity at $8 a megawatt hour is not efficient when you take into account the full cost on society. The second graph takes into account the coal-fired power station with a carbon tax. The carbon tax raises the marginal cost to marginal social costs to force the coal-fired power station to take into account the social cost of its pollution in its production decisions. As marginal social cost is greater than marginal social benefit, consumers will not demand electricity at its price at 1, shown on the graph. So the quantity produced is cut so that the marginal social cost of production is equal to marginal social benefit, meaning the social cost at a given quantity of megawatts is willing to be paid by consumers. Under the carbon tax, electricity generators that pollute are forced to cut production, become more environmentally efficient, or face unprofitable prices and no longer operate into the future. Thus, an economy-wide price signal like a carbon tax is an effective policy option to cut carbon emissions.